15 minutes later, we're along the Lake St. Clair shoreline. Manicured parks are now a mangled mess. You can see and almost feel the force and the path of the storm as trees are toppled in an almost sinister symmetry. Minutes later, it's clear the storm doesn't discriminate between city and suburbs. Here on Detroit's east side, more lives ruined. As we head back downtown, the post-storm haze hangs heavy on the city. It's a night we'll never forget. Chaos still on Plymouth Road between Haggerty and Maine. The courthouse is a complete loss. The skies right now, they're calm, but we did see an unusual sight on the way here. Folks setting off fireworks. It's hard to imagine that some people are celebrating tonight and other people are just lucky to be alive. Reporting live from Chopper 4, Suzanne Wangler, Night Beat.
All right, Suzanne, and certainly in the face of crisis, people have different reactions, and you can't always predict just how someone will
as we've
respond.
explained all night long, some people were affected by this storm system in different ways. Some parts of the Grosse Pointe, some parts of an individual city were affected, as tornadoes can skip and go airborne and not affect one side of a block and affect the other. We were looking at these storms from all vantage points this afternoon. We were showing you Doppler 4000 radar, which did a superb job, and then we were also showing you our tower cams. Take a look at this picture that we trapped during the afternoon. This is our downtown tower cam as we're scanning the skies of downtown Detroit. Numerous lightning strikes, the haze, the heavy rain. And during this afternoon, while we were broadcasting live, lightning strike hit, and it knocked that tower cam right out of the money. You'll see that coming up here. Here it comes. There it went. Now, this was just one of many lightning strikes around the city. Lightning is one of the most dangerous counterparts in a storm. Again, right now, we're dealing with the cleanup and the flood potential. The Clinton River has a flood warning in effect, as is the case over on the Rouge River, the Middle Rouge, near Detroit, and also Garden City. If you're along those rivers or their tributaries, there could be some rapidly rising water as we head toward morning, as these rivers are expected to go over flood stage. What I'd like to do now is take you back in a timeline fashion and talk about exactly what was happening. We did have plenty of notice that this system was going to develop. At 1:10 this afternoon, we had a tornado watch that was issued that extended all across the southern half of lower Michigan. And you can see by the radar that the line of thunderstorms was already developing in the northern part of the state. By 3 o'clock, that line had lengthened, and look at where it went. It went from the UP all the way down to middle Michigan. A possible tornado was spotted about 35 miles southwest of Saginaw. By 4 o'clock, possible tornado reported about 7 miles north of Owasso in Shiawassee County, still out of the immediate metro area, but look as that line of intense thunderstorms is getting closer. We now move the timeline to 4:20, a tornado touchdown just west of Montrose in Genesee County. That's where Flint is located. 4:44, possible tornado about 11 miles north of Flint. And now the severe thunderstorms along the tail end of that line were beginning to affect the western parts of the metro area. Now, 4:51, possible tornado about 7 miles northwest of Howell in Livingston County. This was an area where EMS crews were dispatched, and there was some trouble, some injury, and also some devastation in that area. By 5:32, possible tornado. It looks like now it has been confirmed. The damage up in Holly is immense. Again, one confirmed dead, one person missing in that mobile home park, the Oak Hill Chateau mobile home park site that was hit there. By 5:35 this afternoon, the tornadoes kept moving. This time, Whitmore Lake in Washtenaw County was hit pretty hard. And that line of storms continued to move. And in some places, the thunderstorms were just not moving fast, if at all. And that was the reason the torrential downpours were creating flood problems at that moment. We now move you to 6:16 this evening. Tornado touchdown in Washington Township. The Rudgate Mobile Home Park is hit there. 6:30. Tornado touchdown now takes us down into central Wayne County. And we had reports there with damage initially around Middle Belt and Ecorse Road, but that same cell began to expand and elongate to the east side. And that's where we then had problems in the Grosse Pointes with the tree damage in all the Grosse Pointe parks from Alter Road North and Grosse Pointe Farms. This is a loop every 15 minutes taking you through this afternoon and early evening as these thunderstorms move through the area. This indeed one of the worst outbreaks we will have to talk about in our area, maybe in the state of Michigan, certainly in my 15 years in this city. And coming up in a few minutes, Carmen, we'll go back and look at the historical perspective of where tornadoes have hit severe thunderstorms in our state. There are a lot of places we remember, West Bloomfield and others, but this one is going to go down in the history books, I'm sure.
Well, certainly we talked about it a little bit earlier. We said cities are not immune.
That's
And
right.
we certainly were
Just
not
proved it.
this time. You know, these killer storms showed no mercy. The wind severely damaged Detroit's Focus Hope, and tonight that city's symbol of rebirth was almost forced to shut down. But as we've heard, the Focus Hope is going to live up to its mission to help the needy tonight. But the Night Beat's Mike Lewis shows us what happened.
The tornado comes screaming down Oakman, with Focus Hope directly in its crosshairs. It traps Lily in Washington in a tiny guard shack.
I was right here in this toll booth. I tried to close the door. You see what happened to the door? So I got underneath the table. That was the safest place for me. I just kept repeating, Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy. Please, Lord have mercy, when is this going to end?
Some say it was divine intervention that the children had left their center for a field trip just before the twister struck. But a half a block away, they weren't so lucky. The training center was filled with people, including Joe Bellamo, as the twister chewed through glass, cement, and steel.
I had just stepped out of the office, and the windows blew out of the office. Actually, it blew into the office, and it sucked everything back out. I tried getting the people off the floor, and one guy grabbed me. We grabbed each other, and we hit the ground. And that's when I looked outside, and it was just a twister, or, you know, air twisting around between the two buildings, and there was just debris, glass, flying all over the place.
And Focus Hope's resource center was heavily damaged. Through the lens of the camera, the view is devastating. But through the eyes of the co-founder, Eleanor Jositis, it's something else altogether.
It's absolute miracle. No one was killed. I mean, we can put windows back in the building, we can put new roofs on them, and we'll repair them, and are we sad? Absolutely, but nobody was injured, and that's the most important thing. And there were almost 500 people in the buildings. Are all in the Resource Center. The Machinist Training Institute is not badly damaged, but the Center for Advanced Technologies is.
But others weren't so lucky here on Detroit's west side. Police and EMS report numerous injuries. Many people have no beds tonight and no homes for the immediate future.
We heard a big boom. We fell to the floor, and me, my two kids, and my cousin got down into the basement. And we came back out. The roof was in the hallway, in both of these apartments and all upstairs. The doors was blown into the apartments. It's gone.
From Detroit's west side, Mike Lewis, Night Beat.
All right, Mike, we're back at Pier Park in Grosse Pointe Farms, where 2 people, as we mentioned earlier, lost their lives. 9 people in the hospital tonight. Just a few minutes ago, they cut some of the lights back there along the pier, so we'll assume that means that they've wrapped up a lot of their work here tonight. At least for the people who've been here through this devastating experience today, they can now get back home to their families, probably hug their kids a little tighter and kiss them a little more sweetly. As we showed you earlier, Chuck was showing us the graphic. At about 6:16, the storm made its way into Washington. Laurel Hess has been there throughout the night. She joins us now live. Laurel, what's it like now?
Well, the numbers are now in officially, Devin, and damage here is far worse than first thought. 135 homes damaged, 35 of them destroyed. It all happened just after 6 o'clock this evening when residents of this park say they looked out their windows and saw a funnel cloud tearing diagonally right through their park. A television set, that's all that's left standing in David Holman's home after the twister ripped off his roof, ripped down his walls.
I didn't even think half of it was blown away because I could still see the front of my house. Come back and there's no living room, no dining room. No, well, sorry, there is a dining room, just no bedroom. So, I mean, what can you do?
About a dozen families in the Rudgate Trailer Park in Washington Township lost their homes. Lee Burdick and his family were on their way up north to enjoy the holiday weekend. When they heard the news, they rushed back home.
It came to this. So what are you going to do, you know?
While the Burdicks were not home at the time, many families were. A young woman home alone was in this living room when the tornado hit.
Everything just started shaking, and then I heard the window break. All the wind came in, and the ceiling fell in, and it was over. It was quick.
Chunks of drywall crashed down on Brenda's head. Her boyfriend knows she's lucky to be alive.
Thankful she was alive after seeing it. I was very, very thankful. I was like, you know, I had to thank God on that one for being alive.